on last week's show because we weren't sure then the extent of the injury when me and Sarah were talking about it. But to find out this, it's a bit of a sobering thought, and I really hope he gets back soon.
Yep, some more news. Barrow Raiders have signed free agent Gene Ormsby until the end of the season. The 25-year-old winger was released by Huddersfield Giants in February.
It's nice to know he's finding his level.
Yeah, well, the most piratical player in all of rugby league has found a new home. It's a shame, he didn't go somewhere more coastal.
Barrows.
Well, Barrow's pretty coastal.
Barrow's a shipbuilding town. It's on the coast.
I don't think of it as a coastal place.
No, it's kind of on the coast.
Seaside resort, what I meant. That's what I meant. Somewhere you'd go for a
go down Waldy Island for a summer holiday, wouldn't you? Right. Swinton Lions have landed 24-year-old Ireland international Will Hope.
And Sheffield Eagles have completed the signing of USA fullback Corey Malkin on a 2-year deal subject to visa approval. The 24-year-old played for the Mounties last year in the New South Wales Cup.
Hunslet have signed young Leeds forward Josh Jordan-Roberts on a 1-month loan deal. The 19-year-old played 2 games for the Rhinos and made 7 appearances on loan at Bradford last year in the Championship.
All good signings, that last bunch. Anything else on those?
I saw Josh Jordan-Roberts play against Wigan last year and he worked really hard, but in a side full of kids. Corey Makelim had a good game against Italy, I remember, in the World Cup, so it'll be interesting to see if he can develop to a full-time professional. And the only thing notable about Will Hope was that he was signed on St Patrick's Day, I think.
And it's nice for Swinton to have a hope, because that's something they've often been without recently. Boom. Hey.
Well, a couple
there
of
we go. Yeah, one more, or 2 more, in fact. Bradford Bulls have signed Toronto Wolfpack outside back Jake Butler-Fleming on a 1-month loan deal. The 26-year-old has signed an initial 1-month loan contract with an option to extend it on a weekly basis. It seems that Toronto are trying to send out some of their fringe players to try and get some game time elsewhere at the moment. They've sent those two lads out on loan, and that's another one.
Yeah, and I thought they had a dual reg deal with Bradford, so I don't know why it's a load. But he played 1 game for him, didn't they, when he was covering for injury? And I think he scored a try.
Yeah.
Against Halifax, I wanna wager. But Sydney Roosters have confirmed the signing of former Leeds Centurions hooker Kurt Baptiste. former Leeds Centurions hooker is a weird way to describe Baptiste. For the remainder of the season, the 26-year-old has joined the club with immediate effect on one deal. I'd say the PNG. I should have changed the type on that one. Do you want to bring us
He made a fleeting appearance, and then decided that it was too cold and walked off.
Do you want to bring us the and finally, because this is an interesting one?
Yeah. So you've stitched me up on the pronunciations here. The Cameroon Rugby League admitted as observer members to the RLEF, that's the Rugby League European Federation, last November, have announced details of its first season, which will start next month and include a domestic competition and a series of 9s tournaments at junior and senior level. 4 clubs: Tauro RL, Institute Patu RL, Black Boys RL from Douala, and Babaju RL. Well, I've probably murdered that. Will meet in a doubleheader on the 14th of April at Stade Annex in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, with the senior games preceded by a junior 9s competition. The top 3 teams after the 2 rounds will progress to stage 2, which also includes Sahel, based in Garoua, 100 kilometres north of the capital. And they also have a women's section, and the historic first women's game is scheduled for the 12th of May between Sahel and the Raiders Rugby League Club. There will be semi-finals at junior and senior level, leading to a grand final day in competition that will also take place before the season ends. No player in Cameroon scores a try, they have to go and do the Roger Miller style celebration with the corner flag. Because I really hope so.
I'd done this on the Total RL website as a thing that Roger Miller did not spring immediately. That's a great conversation. But the other thing is, last working on error, I pointed out that it's unlike, because we talked about how it's good that none of the players that were already playing for any of the other home nations in previous games. but point Louis Leeming and Matthew Matongo in there, who could represent Swaziland and Zimbabwe respectively, and I pointed out that it's unlikely that they'll get there. But now that the Cameroon Rugby League are running, we already know that Kenya has a burgeoning as well. There's going to be an African tournament soon, so those lads maybe are going to get a call up, and England might have to manage without those two if they get some tier 2 or tier 3 nation experience. It'll be
But
interesting.
that'd be another great way to grow in the game. Imagine in the World Cup few years getting, it'd probably be, I'd say, 3 or 4 World Cups time, but getting a few African sides in would be excellent and really make it a properly world tournament.
Yeah, and I think if we could do that, if we got North African countries involved and Central African countries involved, we could take a step on the Rugby Union, who only have the South African countries involved, and that'd be a positive, certainly. And if we could have, regional tournaments getting some sort of exposure, if they had, an African Rugby League federation rather than them having to be observer members of the European Federation, for example, that would be quality too.
Yeah, all round positive news. So
yeah,
that is stuff. All of the news for the week.
Now we move on to the Super League match reviews, which is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Find a wide range of toys, gifts, and Rugby League birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5, you can earn 5% cash back. So basically, if you buy a couple of things, you can get 5% cash back. Also, if you do that, 1% of your order value will go to SLP. You have to get this cashback offer by putting in SLP discount at the checkout. If you want to give your full 5% to SLP, you can do that too. Rob will facilitate that if you send him a message when you make your order, and that way you can contribute back a little bit to SLP. All those details will be up on superleaguepod.com, so you can find out just how to take advantage of those deals from Rob's Toy Shop and have support SLP in the process. Right, we're talking about round 6. I've not got the average attendance written down because, one, it was a bit depressing.
I was going to say, I imagine it was, you can put like an asterisk for weather affected, I think, on this one.
Yeah, and basically we only had the 4 games, so we'd need to see what the pitch would look like with probably 8,500 to 9,000 at Cass. As well as probably a dozen or so at Wakefield. So, although those brave souls that went to that game,
they need a medal. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we're going to start with Thursday night's game, which seems like an age ago to me, but I'm sure it'll be fresh in your mind because your faves Hull Kingston Rovers came out victors against the Huddersfield Giants at the John Smith Stadium, 38 points to 6 in front of just over 4,500 people, with Ben Thaler blowing the whistle on this one. Do you want to take us through the fan views?
Yep, starting with Shoddy and Mungo. After a shaky start, I thought Heffernan turned the tide with some real classy footwork. I think he and Shaw made a dangerous right edge for Rovers.
Brian Davies said, great start by the Giants that got me wondering why Hull KR had not been able to assemble a side that could compete at Super League level. Then they simply tore Huddersfield apart. Some great tries, 100% completion in the first half. The Mulhern try that left, I think he means the Mulhern try assist that left Danny Brough on the ground. And a cowbell, apparently.
Let's not start on this.
Can't see Rick Stone lasting beyond the season's end. You'd struggle to explain how he's doing a job to a level that any Brit couldn't.
John Hamilton said, new name on me?
John is a Leeds fan. He's been around the show, but maybe sometimes he sends his things in with his moniker for Twitter, but he is top of the Super Brew League. So there you go.
Great. Put a bet on this being a low-scoring game, but because both teams struggled to attack, forgot at least one struggling to defend. Made it an entertaining game, and KR looked slick in parts. Giants facing a tough challenge. Have they forgotten that Jerry can do more than exit yards? Clearly not. Never noticed this before, but Maguire's constant chirping at the ref is really annoying.
Do you want to know something about John that maybe explains why he's never noticed it before?
Yeah.
He's a Leeds Rhinos fan. Alan Witts, who is a Huddersfield fan, said, "A game that just leaves you asking more questions. What the hell was that? Where was the left side of defence? Where was the cutting edge in attack? How do you have so much possession and get rogered like that? A slow, boring attack that was never going to win a game. Rovers were ruthless and comfortable. Forwards did well and Leeming had some spark. That's it. Worrying for Giants."
Phil Nadin, the original Beast from the East, said this was a hard game to watch on several levels. Wasn't expecting KR to run away in this game. Huddersfield need to sort out handling errors and their penalty count if they want to stop is Super League, never mind top 8. Think KR might pose a problem to FC. Let's hope so.
Well, that's not a lot of confidence there, is it, from Phil? But they have overtaken him in the table. Davy Reegs, who's another Hull KR fan, said, "About time the attacking structures came off. Our fitness levels this year are second to none, and that is one of the main reasons we can defend our own line for longer. Mulhern once again led from the front, and I would expect a call up to the Knights, providing he carries on and stays healthy. The win definitely eases the pressure off the team."
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, especially Mulhern. I think it was fantastic, and I think you've got to give him real credit for the penalty that he earned in the build-up to the Heffernan try with the feet.
Yeah, and he was in that set. He had 2 carries in that set, I think, and both of them were really quick around the ruck, direct. That really put Huddersfield's defence on the back foot.
Yeah, and I think he had a good all-round game. Really, you saw him both attack and defence. He was really putting a shift in. So I think he's played well. He's probably been my player of the team of tournament Super League so far for KR. I think he's done pretty well, and he's sort of slotted in well to that. So I think
because even in the games where your attack's not been very good, Rob Mulhern's defence has been exceptional.
Yeah, I mean he's always one, and he's often. He ends up as you do in that sort of position, coming in as the second man, but he really does stop the momentum when you watch him in the. He comes in and he does really control it. So that doesn't mean that he then commit a third man, which I think is an invaluable skill as any defender.
In terms of the flow of the game, obviously the first 10-15 minutes, it looked like Huddersfield.
It was looking ominous.
Should have been more ahead than they were. The try that they scored was fairly neat play. Oliver Roberts, good footwork and good line running, but good change of direction as he took the ball. But it seemed pretty easy for them to score. It seemed pretty easy for them to be making meters, and then they were not a cohesive unit for the rest of the game. The halfbacks didn't seem to be playing on the same pitch, even if the forwards were making a ton of yards, because they were making a ton of yards from their props. And everything else they did was just trying to fight for some ground, whereas everything just came magically together. The set plays that the Robins were able to put on was hugely impressive. I'm sure you enjoyed massively the first try in particular, and the analysis of it at the half time as well by Sky.
Yeah, and the scrum plays. Watch all the scrum plays back, because that's the sad sort of thing I like to do.
Well, Tommy Lee took one from the base of the scrum through the middle, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to. Boring through a pack of forwards is probably one of my favourite sights in rugby. See also pushing against the head.
Yeah.
And it's just, see someone pop through the middle like that. I mean, you haven't seen that used as a tactic for many years, but I almost wonder if they shot themselves by using it in the wrong game.
Well, I think what it does, both in this game and going forward, is it makes teams think about it, because the
it makes people defend
now
up for
is
it then.
to shoot out from the scrum so fast that now teams will have to stay bound for a little bit longer to not give up those easy meters, and potentially from the 10-meter line a try. So what that does then is that gives the opportunity for Hull KR to start putting on some of the blindside scrum plays that what's his face Tim Sheens likes so much, because that player, that defender, won't be getting out as quick. So there's a definite opportunity there for something else, and that's what doing that sort of thing does. You go away from the basic same old that we see so much at scrums, and you start having to think as defenders.
Yeah, one of the things that did annoy me throughout the game with KR, there was the play the balls. and there was absolutely no even closeness to touching a foot at any point. It's a very Tim Sheen's thing to do, is to just strip out any even waft of it, which is interesting because they've now clamped down quite heavily on it in the NRL.
Hugely,
So,
yeah. Every game so far I've seen, there's been penalties for.
So you've got to think that's going to come at some point, and then they're going to come out unstuck. But it was really, as someone